All right. We are live, I think. Waiting for YouTube to catch up with us. There's always a lag in YouTube. I don't know why, but there is. There we go. Waiting for YouTube to catch up with us. I messed up again. There we go. Sorted it out. Okay. Welcome live from the crossroads of America. Rick's Life as I See It, a 1-hour talk show about guns, politics, or anything else that crosses my mind. Also answer questions from the audience. You can put it in the chat there or email me at rickslife@gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com. Also, this audio, if you can't make it for the full hour, the audio of this chat will be on Podbean, iTunes, and Stitcher within 24 hours of it finishing. Also, I have a Patreon page if anybody's interested. It's up there on my lower thirds, and it's down below on the chat there. And I'm on YouTube and gun channels. And right now we got let me put it here. I've got, if anybody wants to join the chat, I got a few spaces left. There's a link on the gun channel side. So let's see, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got 4 more spaces. So anyway, let me introduce the panel as I have it now. And we'll start from this end. Tony.
Hey, thanks for the invite.
Okay, Squib.
Hey, happy Saturday.
Patriot in the dark. How you doing? Talk to me, Patriot. Oh, he's working on his daughter's birthday party, so he might have stepped away from the mic. David.
Hey, how is everybody today? Thanks for the invite.
Okay. Clover. How you doing?
Doing good, Rick. Thanks for the invite.
Great. Okay. Now, what I was going to say is I only had 1 entry into my competition last week. I even repeated the question on Wednesday. So it must have been a real tough one. And the person who entered actually won it because he got the question right. But he was generous enough to say, throw it back in the ring. So I'm going to use the same question again. And I'll give it to you later on in the show. I forgot to do it last Saturday because we got in that big discussion and it just totally, went out of my head. But I will try to remember it today. So there we go. Next thing I wanted to talk about, it was brought up on the Wednesday show. Maybe you guys can email me your. No, I know what I'll do. Is I'll actually use my Patreon. I'll go in there today or tomorrow and set it up. Because you can do polls where people can vote on certain things on Patreon, can't you? So my question is, should my show run longer than 1 hour? That's my question. Some people said because we get going, then I cut it short.
You're going to podcast it or whatever, no? As you start getting into issues, you get much over an hour with your podcast, unless you chop it up or something.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Depends on what you're looking to get out of it, Rick. Yeah.
That's right. It's just something, it was just brought up and I was thinking, when the conversation's going good, so, I don't like running over if I can help it, because my original plan was, it was meant to be like a radio show type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Show, and it was meant to be just an hour and that was it. I don't mind running over 5-10 minutes, but like last week, the conversation was going really good, and I could have let it run. Even Wednesday night was going good, and it was running into your show.
Oh well, that's all good.
And that's what I was saying. I mean, some ways it's good. I mean, it gives people on gun channels more choices to choose from.
Exactly.
So it was just something idea I had. I'll go do that on Patreon because I need to go in there and tidy that up because I've neglected it for a while. Okay, what was on my agenda today was maybe I'm wrong, but I was reading that our letter bomber, that's what you want to call him, they said somewhere in his past, or one of his past employers said he was a white supremacist. That he was really strong into that. And he only just started, he only got into Trump, 2016. That was it. I mean, before that, he wasn't interested. So I don't know. I'm glad they caught him. But it seems, I don't know. I don't want to be conspiracy theory here until we know more, but it just looks strange that all this happened at this time, just before the midterms. Maybe it's coincidence. I don't know. But I don't want to conjure up anything because we don't know. And what we could talk about, and people are bringing it up in the chat, and is Pittsburgh. I don't know if you guys have heard. There was a shooting in a synagogue today, and Rich in the chat seems to have some details on it, and I was hoping he would make it into the room here, but I don't see him. So anyway, but what he was saying that he's heard there was 8 killed and 4 wounded. Which no matter how you look at it, it shouldn't happen. And I was saying before the show started, the world has changed. America has changed. That this kind of thing happens. Do with our gun laws, us having guns and stuff. It has nothing to do with that. It's just that something has changed in our world and in our country that people can do this. I think anybody that walks into a school or a church, synagogue, whatever you want to call it, whatever mosque, whatever religion you come under, and open fire, they got to be deranged some way. They really have. Because, that is sickening. Now, I don't know. You guys got any view on this? Squib?
Historically, if you look at it, things like this have happened in this country for a long time, and maybe in other countries as well. It's just within the past 20 or so years, we've had the 24-hour news cycle, mass media. When we were kids, you got the paper every day, and you had the 6 o'clock news and the 11 o'clock news, and 7 a.m. morning news or something on TV. There was no CNN, there was no internet, there were no smartphones where everybody's sending everybody stuff, Instagram, Facebook, all this stuff. This day and age, everybody wants information. They want it yesterday. They don't care if it's right. And there's a lot of money to be made off of the mass media, and there's a lot of organizations out there, people, whatever you want to say, that are, we were first, whether you're right or not. And I think the simple fact that in the 19th century, early part of the 20th century, your newspaper might have news in it that happened 2 weeks ago, and it took 2 weeks for you to find out about it, whereas today we find out in 2 seconds. So I think people think this happens more today because of how quickly it's reported. And if you go back and look at historical information out there, if you simply go into Wikipedia and look at school shootings in America, it will break it down by century. Now, that's not to say that we haven't had quite a few in this century compared to, say, the 19th century, but it did happen before. And I'm sure that there's probably information on churches being attacked. I mean, just look at for example, the Mormon religion in the 19th century, how they were attacked in Illinois, and that was part of what drove them out west to Utah. Now I realize that it was people didn't understand their religion, and it was persecution and blah 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 blah, but stuff like this has happened. It's just we don't have, back then we didn't have the instant media. And I do think the instant media has something to do with these things happening what seems like more often, or may actually be more often, because they almost glorify it and they perpetuate it. They want it to go on and as long as possible. I mean, this guy today, was he watching the news about the package bomber and said, I can one up that? I mean, who knows? So I think because they didn't report the news back in the day, in the 1940s and the 1890s, the way they do today, I don't think there's as much inspiration for some of these people to have their 15 minutes of fame or to be inspired to commit these heinous crimes.
Okay. All right. Hey, Rich has joined us. How you doing, Rich? Is he walking?
I'm doing all right, and you called, so here I am.
Okay. All right. I mean, I noticed you wrote some stuff in there. You must be up to date on what's happening.
Yeah, I've been watching the local news channel out of Pittsburgh about what's been going on. So far, what they know is the guy was an incredible anti-Semite. He was an anti-Trump guy. They're not releasing what weapons he used. They're looking at his residence now. The ATF, FBI have taken over the investigation for various reasons. Hate crimes, possible terror ties, that kind of thing, with the FBI getting involved. The ATF's and bomb squad are at his house, so there could be, like Squib was hinting at, maybe a bomb or more paraphernalia at his residence. And he made all kinds of social media comments against Jews, against the one Jewish charity who helps Jewish refugees get into the country, get their green cards and citizenship and whatnot. Donald Trump, before he left for the conference he's going to in Indiana, was giving a statement, and a reporter asked him if this is a time for gun control, and Trump came out with the exact opposite. He's like, no, this ain't the time for gun control. This is the time for us to put guards in our churches, in our schools and whatnot, which I thought was the right thing for Trump to say myself. And if anybody got any more questions, I'm following this live as I'm like watching your show at the same time. So if anybody has.
All right. Appreciate it.
Rich, I heard, so a couple hours ago, I was at the barber shop getting my mop chopped, and they had sports on, and they kept interrupting with the news, and we had MSLSD on, and they said it was an AR-15 or some sort of assault type rifle.
No,
so they already jumped to conclusions on that.
Yeah, that's a total complete jump to conclusions. They have not released at all what weapons were used.
I thought that was kind of irresponsible. It's more of them, showing their hand as far as what they're trying to do here. The other thing too is I agree with you too. Trump fired right back, and it was about time that, with all these people saying he's not on our side, I get that because of some of the stuff he's said and done. I'm not saying that he is 100%, 50% on our side, whatever, but it was about time that, instead of him tweeting something ridiculous, he actually threw it kind of back in their face, because their first question was gun control. The next two questions, I don't know if you heard them, NRA were in the questions.
Yeah,
when he walked on Air Force One, he muttered, "We've been talking to them." kind of like he was just blowing them off. I mean, it wasn't quite Reagan-esque as far as I don't know if you remember how Reagan used to blow off the reporters until they asked a question he really did want to answer. He was great at it, but I thought it was good that he said that if there had been somebody in there with a gun, maybe the only person being dead would be this guy. And then he talked about bringing back the death penalty. He even said, people might think it's unpopular. Whatever, they have a right to their opinion, but I think we need a consequence for this. And they said, well, do you think we have to have armed guards? And he says, no, I'm saying it should be an option. And it sucks that he didn't say sucks, but he says it's unfortunate that it has to come to something like this where we have to consider having armed guards in a church. I thought for a guy who can't tweet worth a crap, I thought he handled them real well. He did 3 questions and then he got on the plane.
Yeah, and they were on local news. They were interviewing the former head rabbi, who's Rabbi Emeritus now, at the temple where it happened, or synagogue. It's actually 3 temples in one giant synagogue building. There's 3 different denominations of the Jewish faith that use that building. There's 3 different floors that they have services on. He apparently shot 4 people on the main floor as he entered, then went down into the basement and shot 4 more people there at that service. And then by the time police got there, he had holed himself up in an office of the Rabbi Emeritus because he had a massive, huge desk and was using that. I guess that was going to be where he was going to make his last stand, but then decided he was going to surrender when police wounded him. But to your point, I believe what Trump's exact quote when he was asked about the gun control and when he started about the armed guards was, if there was an armed guard, this would have came out totally differently. That I believe that is what his exact wording was on that. But yeah, I thought Trump nailed that one right then and there, and that was
I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, that was the very first question. Everything that the reporters could ask him about what's going on.
Not are the injured doing okay? What's their condition in the hospital? Did they think that there was anybody else involved? Maybe something about the FBI or something, since they're under Trump's jurisdiction, something like that. Nope. The very first thing was gun control. And then the next 2 were NRA, and they didn't ask any questions about anything else, about the condition of anybody or anything even relevant. And that's just the way it is. Yeah, they showed their hand right there.
Yeah.
Right there.
Local media in Pittsburgh has been the exact opposite.
Yeah.
Nobody brought up gun control once. As soon as they get Trump in front of the camera with the media in D.C., that was the very first thing brought up.
Yeah. So let's go on to the rest of the panel and see what you got. Patriot, you back with us yet? Come on.
Hey, there I am. I
Okay.
find myself. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Trying to catch up with this birthday party. Sorry.
I totally understand. So
Yeah,
any input on the shooting in Pittsburgh?
the murders, you mean? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's always happened. It's going to happen, but people should be able to protect themselves. So there's really nothing else I can say about it. I as soon as it came on, I turned the news off and went about my day. So,
when I was sitting in the barber shop, there were there was a barber and 3 other adult males in there with me, and they were all waiting to get their hair cut too. And there were 2 kids in there, and everybody was watching the TV or could hear it. And when he said that if there had been somebody in that church with a gun, this might have turned out differently, I said something like, "Thank you, Trump," or "About time, Trump," or something like that. Nobody in there said anything. And I've been in there before. I've had pro-gun discussions with the barbers. I've had pro-gun discussions with some of the other patrons in there. And it was the first time that there was, and nobody said, we're in a society where even if somebody agrees with you on some of this stuff, they're afraid to speak up. Yeah.
Yeah. And let's move on to David.
Well, there's clearly what I don't understand is how it works out that right now is the safest time to be alive in human history. Yet it's probably the one of the most immoral times. Now, obviously, I understand, medieval time, all that, but with all the technology, all the medical advances, all the creature comforts that we have, we've just become morally depleted. And it's a real shame that the conversation is even what kind of guns did they use and who cares if they used a gun or a fork? There's human beings, our fellow Americans, that have been taken out of this world for no reason, and
Yeah,
nobody cares about that. The people that are dead, only people that care about them are their families. Now, and I'm saying us and stuff like that, like we care and stuff, but I'm talking about in politics and in media. They don't care about any of those people being dead. It's just a new hot headline for them.
Real quick, they just updated the casualty numbers. There's now 11 reported dead at the synagogue.
no, Jesus. Yeah, that's what I was saying at the beginning. It seems that America, the world actually, but America's just got, I don't know. It's a shame that it's people people will do that. But my own personal opinion, I think it all has to do with mental health. I.e., I know some of these things were absolutely atrocious. Some of those mental institutions they had when they closed them all back down. What was it, 30, 40 years ago? You know, the real bad ones, yes, they found they put them somewhere, but everybody else they just let them go out into society, and boom, what have you got? You got one sick person hooking up with another sick person. They're, I mean, putting it bluntly, then they're producing sick people. And we need to get a control of the mental health, not only in this country but mostly around the world. I feel. But anyway, last person in the thing here, Clover. Anything to say?
Well, mental health a long time ago was basically turned over to the prison system, and that's horrible because they basically just lock them away. They incarcerate them. Nobody gets any help. It's very much inhumane for those people that have problems to do that. And it's sad that there's not more people that recognize that, more politicians or whatever the case might be that recognize that and won't bring back, the actual mental health institutions. There's many people you can talk about the really bad nut jobs of the day that were in the asylums and they lived their lives in the asylums, but truth of the matter is there was far more people that went through a really bad time in their life or that was dealing with something, and those institutions helped them, and they got out and became productive members of society. As far as the synagogue thing, I'm not up to speed too much on it. Honestly, I mean, I've got to where I don't dive into stuff too terribly heavy. And the reason I don't is because it seems like everything boils down to it deviates into a Second Amendment argument. And my response to anybody that would want to make a Second Amendment argument out of this is we've got 11 lives supposedly taken at this point. Why don't we talk Monday about what happened in Chicago over the weekend?
Absolutely. Nobody wants to talk about Chicago. Not only Chicago, but I mean, really, even some other cities like, oh God damn, my mind's gone me on the East Coast. I'm trying to think.
New York, Baltimore.
Baltimore, yeah, Baltimore's pretty sad, and there's some other cities like that. I mean, so you're right, but nobody talks about Chicago. Nobody,
No.
you know.
Yeah,
Local news in Baltimore doesn't even cover any of the shootings. It's just two shot early in the morning on Saturday, and then move right on to something else.
Well, and they're putting a monetary value on people's lives when they do that, and that's what's sickening about the whole thing. How are 112 lives in Chicago, worth less than 11 lives that makes no sense to me. I mean, either give all of that the same amount of focus or the same amount of airtime, or come up with some better way. It's ridiculous that you get an opportunity as media to politicize something because it fits your narrative, or you can at least you can spin it to fit your narrative, right? And that's just sickening, and that's why a lot of people, most people I think are fed up with the media. They see it. They're fed up with the politicians that play those games. They see it.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
You're right.
real quick, I just want to get back to the whole where Trump was talking about the guard thing. Where I was going with the Rabbi Emeritus before I went off and started instead describing the temple and everything was that he echoed what Trump was saying. Because normally if they have a special event like a big holiday, they'll get the city to put officers on their what they call detail in the city of Pittsburgh, which is basically where the police department would provide security and pay the officers' salaries. And because they did that at the one supermarket I worked at, we had in the evening because they couldn't afford to pay for security. They had worked with the city, and the city provided an officer on a detail duty, which would be like them picking up overtime working as security at various places. He said that for special holidays like Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and stuff at that temple, they normally would do that, but he never thought to do that every Saturday. Now he said that he's going to have to get with the practicing rabbis now, because he still oversees some of the things that happens, and they're going to have serious discussion on whether they want to do this on a weekly basis now.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I said it's a shame that it's come to that, but that's what's got to be done. That's what's got to be done, to protect people. I mean, it goes back to this, protecting schools too. I mean, they need armed guards there. I mean, if I'm correct, I think I read somewhere like the Parkland School, where last year. I mean, yes, they employed 5 more guards, if you want to call them, but they're unarmed. I mean, honestly, what good is that?
Well, don't forget they had a school resource officer there too, and he ran from the shooting.
Yeah, I know. So I don't know. I mean, but I tell you what I did like was that one. I don't know where it was, where that one school principal, she went through police officer training. So she's well, I think what she is, she's actually a qualified police officer. I think she can go out if she wants to, but she's a principal of a school, so she carries in the school concealed carry to protect her children. Which I thought was absolutely great. I don't know if anybody else read that story.
Hey, what if her name was Carrie, and then she really could be concealed carry?
Concealed carry.
Yeah. Change the subject totally onto a good thing. Dead Horse says they'll be in here shortly, where we can do the drawing on the big prize for the GoFundMe. So that should be happening today. If he hasn't, he said he'd be in here in 5 minutes. So there we go. So we'll see him shortly. Anyway, moving on from that, because we could spend hours conjecturing on that, and till all the facts are in, it's hard to really say anything. It's the same with the email. Jesus Christ. Same with the mail bombings. Until we know all the facts, it's hard to even go on about that one. I can come up with all kinds of conspiracies for these things, But that's, But I tell you what I did love today, what I read, was that stupid lawyer, or Antiventi, how you pronounce his name? The one who represents Stormy Daniels. He's
Avenatti.
he's having a bad week. He got his offices in California. They got evicted for non-payment of rent. He lost a case down in Florida where he has to pay an ex-employee $4.5 million. He lost the case against him, and Stormy lost the case against Trump, and he has to pay all Trump's fees. Now He's been 2 congressional hearings now, investigations on his affidavits that he submitted during the Kavanaugh trials.
Yeah. Chuck Grassley actually referred him to the DOJ for criminal prosecution.
Yeah. Twice.
Yeah.
Might I say, couldn't happen to a better guy.
That's right. I think he should be struck off, in my opinion. Aha, here's Dead Horse. How you doing?
Good, Rick. I'm just on my lunch break. I'm just wanted to hop in real quick and do this drawing.
We can do it. We can do it now while you're on your lunch break. No problem. So the floor is yours. What are we doing here?
Okay, so I'm this is randomnumber.org. So this is what's going to generate our number. Here's our list right here.
Yeah.
Of contestants. We have Leslie C, Jeff P, Yesterday's Pomade, B Wood, C Dover, Sarge, Miles M, Brian Q, Russ C, G Web, Mr. Knives, and Scott S. So these numbers like 1 through 8, 9 through 12, so this is their entries. So when I hit the random number generator, whatever number comes up, if it's in between these, that's who wins. So we got the random number generator right here, 1 to 51 is how many, I guess, entries we have or tickets or whatever. So I'll hit generate. 45. So let's see. Number 45 is 43 to 47. Mr. Knives.
Mr. Knives.
Mr. Knives won.
Oh, wow.
Shit. So Mr. Knives, you are going to win an awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, instead of sending him that box, you can just get him a box of chocolates and he'll be happy.
Well, maybe we'll have Mr. Potatoes and Lead send him some chocolate in the box he won.
Oh, yeah.
So Mr. Knives wins an awesome cleaning box, a Strike Industries gun part, some Slip 2000 gun oil, and something from Tony.
Yeah, Tony's meant to be sending something too for that prize. So there you go. And I want to thanks for doing that, and I want to thank everybody again for the GoFundMe. If it wasn't for you guys, that paid for the gas to get here. You know, I mean, since I got here, I've had some troubles, but hell, I'm glad I am here. You know, my truck's broke down, my TV packed in, you know, but hey, I'm in a free state and it feels good. And it really does. And I said, I walked into a gun store the other day. I was telling people, and walked in a gun store and all the rifles on the wall. I mean, I was standing there. I think my bottom jaw was hitting the floor. I saw more guns on the wall there than I saw in all the gun stores in Rhode Island combined. I was just amazed. I mean, and then he had a cabinet full of, you know, handguns and shit. And he had reloading supplies. Not only that, he done fishing stuff too. He had fishing poles and all kinds of bait there and stuff. I mean, I was in my glory. Shame I didn't have any money. Otherwise, I'd have come out broke. But it was and that was only one gun store I've been to, you know. So I got plenty more to look. There's meant to be 5 in this area, so I got to get around to them. Anyway, I want to say thank you to Dead Horse for putting that all together for me. It was really great. Thank you.
Not a problem, Rick. I'm just sending Mr. Knives a message on Gun Channels right now to tell me to hit me up with his shipping address, and I'll make sure to pass it out to everybody so we can send him his prizes. And yeah, it was my pleasure, Rick. I'm glad it was a good cause. I see a lot of people asking for money where I don't consider it a good cause, but I think that was a hell of a good cause.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I really appreciate that. It was, and I used every penny of it. I didn't spend any of it for like on personal stuff. It was all for the move.
Yeah. Oh no, that's exactly what it was supposed to be for. I think it was a great success, man.
Yeah.
And
I do.
you know, I mean, where else in this whole country or on the internet Can like let's say a car guy go and say, "Hey, I'm moving like on this car forum and like help me move and stuff." Like that just doesn't happen. Like at a place like gun channels, I mean, that's one of the good things about gun channels. Where else does like a whole bunch of people come together that are so great and that will help each other out like this?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. It is. I mean, it is really nice to know. I mean, everybody here, even he's in Gun Channel's chat. Even Ohio 45 ACP offered to stop by yesterday and go shooting with me. You know why? Because he was coming through Indiana near where I was at, but unfortunately, I had appointments. My truck broke down, but luckily I got one of my cousins to take me to my doctors and stuff. Then, I had a couple others, but I had to cancel them. But you know, when does that happen? Somebody, somebody you only know them through here is willing to stop by and go shooting with you, which I thought was pretty nice. So I have to get him a rain check on that one.
All right, Rick. I'm sorry to bust in here and then run, but like right now, I'm pretty much I'm on like 10, 15-minute lunch breaks. So
okay, hey, I thank you. Thanks for stopping in. I appreciate it. Thank you.
No problems. I'm glad to finally get it done.
Yeah, thanks.
So, alrighty, Rick. You have a good show. I'm listening over on the YouTube side. So.
Okay, great. All right. Yeah. Not only that, where was I going? I lost my train of thought there for a second. Totally lost it. Oh yeah, about Ohio 45 willing to do that. I even got an email from. Did it come to me? Native Gun. I believe it was Native Gun. I mean, I believe he's got a shop in Evansville, or something to do with that. And he said, "Come down and see him there." And I thought, "Wow, yeah, I might do that." So, I mean, it's amazing what's happened. The friendships I've made on here. It's really good. So, anyway, back to the show. Has anybody got anything they want to talk about? Anybody? Speak up.
Oh, remember, what was it, last week, Wednesday last week or Saturday, I forget which, you were talking about the Shield EZ. I picked one up. And Rick, if you're having the arthritis issues like you were saying with your hands and stuff, I'm telling you right now, man, look into one. That thing racks so easy. Or let me find it and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Yeah, I gotta get it dug out because it's like in its box still. So hold on a second. I got a bunch of stuff sitting here, a bunch of different things that we had just picked up. So yeah. Get this out of the box, get my camera turned on so you can see it. So here it is, right? Watch this. 2 fingers. See how you?
Wow. Wow.
So, yeah. The slide release is real easy to push down. So yeah, if you're having the arthritis issues, yeah, I would definitely look into one of these.
Well, I'm definitely thinking about it.
And that grip safety, you can't grip that wrong. As soon as the webbing of your thumb hits, you can grab it all the way down here and it'll turn off that thumb safety or that grip safety.
I don't have a problem with the grip safety at all.
Yeah.
Got one on my 1911.
You know, 1911, sometimes they can be finicky. Yeah. This one, it doesn't matter where you grab it. It'll shut it off. You can, like I said, I can grab it here. And let me show you real quick. And as you can see, I am not gripping that pistol properly at all.
Yeah.
And to pull the trigger. It's still disengaged that grip safety.
Yeah. You're right. I mean, but that is something I'm really going to look into. I really am. That more likely will be my next purchase when I get to it.
Yeah.
Because even sitting here right now, my hands are feeling. I can feel it in my hands. The arthritis already.
You see the tab?
Cold. You know.
Can you see the tabs on the magazine there? Like right here where my finger is. You see the little tab?
Oh yeah.
You grab that. You pull the follower down. Hold it in the other hand. You can just slip your rounds in there. So that makes it easier to load it as well.
Wow. Man, that is the gun. I'm definitely going to have to look into it. Definitely.
Yeah, I got this for my wife to use because she wants to get out shooting more, but she has problems with carpal tunnel starting in her one hand.
Yeah.
So I put this up for her because grabbing my like shield or my HK when she was trying to shoot that, it was hurting her hand. So I got her this to see if maybe this would work better for her too. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's definitely something to look into. I'm definitely going to look into one. That more likely will be what I go with. You know,
Yeah.
especially during the winter months. You know.
Yeah. You probably find it a little cheaper online, but then you got your transfer fees and everything. I only paid $420 for it. You can see, I don't know if you can see the price tag.
Oh yeah, that ain't bad.
No.
Yeah. As you said, you might get it cheaper online, but by the time you pay the transfer fees, it's going to be up near there anyway.
Right. That's what that was and that way I was supporting a local mom and pop shop too. You know. So.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, appreciate it. So, you got a new gun this week too, didn't you, Clover?
No, last week.
Was it last week? What
the PPQ was last week.
Was it last week? Damn, it's amazing how time sort of gets together. How's that? Yeah, how you shot it much?
Yeah, I put a couple hundred rounds through it so far.
What do you think?
No, not much.
What do you think of it so far?
It's nice. It's nice. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
It's got a good trigger. The trigger's weird though. I've heard that you could take it down and do some polish work to it. So I guess similar to probably trigger job on a Glock or anything else, and kind of smooth it out. But it's got I don't know. It's almost like it's got a rough spot in it to me at some point, and I'm just not used to that. I mean, other than that, the take up's fine, the brake is fine, the stop is fine, the reset's fine. All of that's, I don't got a problem. It's just kind of gritty feeling at one little point in there that's really weird, at least for me.
Yeah. I mean, when I got my which are notorious for it, the old Smith & Wesson M&P. When the original ones, they had a gritty trigger in them. But after a while, I got used to it, or the grit wore off.
Right? No, it will. Yeah. I mean,
it's a smooth trigger now that I got.
If you take it down and polish it, and I've talked about that multiple times on a lot of things. With firearms that are not, hand fitted. They're just machined and thrown together. I mean, you're gonna have that issue. I mean, there could be tooling marks or all kinds of little issues. So you're gonna have a lot better firearm if you take that thing down and polish up any contact points, because you just accelerate that break-in period is all.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I ordered another gun too that I'm waiting for to come into the gun shop. I ordered a 620 Smith & Wesson 627, and Clover was picking on me because I got the Shield EZ 380. Then I got a big heavy 357 on Thursday show.
Yeah, 357's for you, I take it.
Yeah, 357. That's mine.
Yeah. No, but I'm definitely thinking about that 380 easy there, especially during the winter months. As I said, my fingers now, I can feel the arthritis in them. It's a real pain in the. It gets really bad. So there we go.
Do they have, like, Clover on your Browning? I don't know that it's called a charging handle, but it kind of looks like a charging handle instead of the slide. Am I getting that right?
You're talking about the bug mark?
Yeah, okay, yeah. One of you made a film about it, doing, I think it's one of your Steel Challenge pistols.
Yeah, the little T thing coming out the back.
Yeah.
Slide racker. Yeah.
Do they make that in like the larger caliber rounds, like 9mm or 40 and stuff like that? Or is that just like a 22 thing?
Completely. That's all. That one is Stripling Custom Gunworks, and the answer to that would be no. for them because that's milled. Don't Stripling. I've said Stripling Custom Gun Works. No, I'm not saying you can't get one somewhere, have somebody to build one, but that's milled into the slide, and it has a lot to do with the way the slide, the design of the slide, and everything on that. That said, there are various companies that make slide wreckers. Tandem Cross, for example, makes it's a little bit different. They call it the Halo charging ring, and it's a little loop rather than having ears that come out both sides. But it they've got those for multiple handguns. I mean, Glock, for example. Of course, you can get anything for a Glock, but yeah, they make slide wreckers for multiple firearms. Sure.
Yeah.
Does it make it easier to rack the slide with those?
It's a little quicker. I mean, especially on a buck mark. On a buck mark, you almost have like a pinch method or something that you got to go through. Because remember, you're with that buck mark, you're talking about the slide design. So it's not an issue to where you can, use a handover method and rack the slide because you've got a rail and optics and other things going on up there. That's above the slide. The slide is below that, right? So you've got your frame, and then the slide is sandwiched in between the frame and the rail, right? So it's almost like a pinching method you have to use to do it traditionally or do it normally.
Yeah. That reminds me of something else about the Shield EZ. So let me get my camera back quick. I don't know if you can see that on the camera there, but it has two flares at the back of the rear of the slide, so that your hand, if you were to lose your grip on the serrations, you can hit that and still hit those 2 points, and you can still pull the slide back.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, I was thinking of looking for those, you were talking about those slide pullers or whatever you want to call them. I was thinking about getting one of them for my M&P if I could find one, But, that still has a strong, I guess because of the spring in it, it has to pull it, it's not easy, So, but the 380 just seems, it's the gun I think I'm going to need. But what puts me off is the caliber, if you know what I mean. To me, is a 380. Really, unless you shoot somebody dead center in the heart or in the head, even a 45 ain't going to kill.
Yeah, and Clover carries a 380 every day.
You do, Clover?
Yeah, Glock 42. Yeah.
And that caliber doesn't bother you? You think it'll get the job done?
I'll put you down. You mess with me, dude. Come on.
Another thing about this one, it's not a striker fire. This is an internal hammer. This is a single action pistol. It's a single action hammer fire.
Yeah.
I've had to use quite a bit of restraint because I like the 380 round. I like the 380 pistols, and they're like 200, 250 bucks. So I've really had to keep myself from having 50 of them laying in my room somewhere. I'm waiting to pick the right one, but I wouldn't sneeze at the 380. I think it's a good round.
Man, I'm going to tell you the 42, of course, nowadays, if you've got the option, I don't know that going with the 43 wouldn't be a better option. At the time, the 43 wasn't out. I got the 42 like when it first came out, and I love it. It's amazing. What's cool about that, and I would say if you like 380, if you like the recoil signature, being less and whatever, the cool thing about it, particularly if you have shot Glocks or if you own Glocks, okay, the 42, the 43 both are exceptional pistols to take out and just have fun with as well, because they feel, shoot, everything, sight alignment, the whole nine is just like any other Glock. They're just smaller. That's the only difference.
Yeah, it's like this. Other than the grip safety, everything else, if you've held a M&P, it's the same thing. You got the same sight alignment on this as if you will M&P. The grips have similar texturing. This is a 2.0, not the 1.0, but it's just the main difference between a 1.0 and a 2.0 is 2.0 is a little grippier, but it's still got that same grip. It's still got the same sight alignment. So it's very easy if you're used to the M&P picking this up, and using it if you've had a shield or a full size.
Okay, that's good to know. Next question is, it's down to not price of the gun, price of ammo. Is it reasonable? 380?
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's not bad.
You know, because I know the 9mm, you can pick them up anywhere for almost nothing nowadays.
I should add, I probably didn't pay full retail. Think of because when I bought this, the gun shop also threw in a box of range ammo and a gun safe with it.
Oh, that ain't bad.
Like when you would in your car to put it in.
Yeah.
380 is going to run you 380 is going to be a little more than 9, but 380 is going to run you 40, 45 price probably.
Yeah,
okay, that ain't a problem. I'm more like, if I get it and I'm using it for my carry, it means I'll be shooting it a lot because I believe in shooting a lot what you carry a lot. Stay familiar with it. I'm more like start reloading them anyway. You know.
Yeah, they were okay. The local gun shop where I got this were the Federal Champion target ammo. They were charging $24.99 for a box of 50. I got one of those boxes free. Bought one, and then for the PMC Starfire, they were charging $13 for a box of 25. So that's not too bad. And you can probably find cheaper prices online if you were to buy from like SGM or something. Buy more than one box, buy a couple boxes at a time. Probably get a better deal on it.
I saw Dusty just joined us, but he left us. So whether he had internet connection problems, I'm not sure. But thanks for trying. So yeah. Oh, okay, but I said I'm more than likely if I'm shooting a lot of them, I'll reload them. I might not save any money, but I like reloading. To me, it's
you get a couple boxes, and then you have your brass to reload. So.
Oh yeah, that's what I was thinking anyway.
Yeah.
So, hey, Dusty made it back. How you doing, Dusty? You there? Talk to us, Dusty.
I'm trying to get in here. Am I in that now?
Yeah, you're in.
Okay. Well, you guys were talking about a Glock 42. I have one that's giving me headaches right now. It will stovepipe every time I shoot it or not feed the rounds. Any suggestions on what I do to repair it?
That is beyond me, but any of you other guys know?
What was the question?
I have a Glock 42. You guys were Clover Tech was just talking about a Glock 42.
Yeah.
I have one, and actually Squib can help me on this because he shot it too. And it will stovepipe and not load the next round every time.
We were using reloads initially, and then we went with some self-defense factory ammo just to verify that it wasn't the reloads. We also sprayed it with Rem oil. That seemed to help a little, but it didn't resolve the issue. The gun wasn't clogged up with filth or dirt. We hadn't dropped it in the dirt. Nothing seemed to be broke. The mags, we were using 2 different mags. There wasn't anything that we were doing that I would see that would create a problem. I've got a similar issue with all 3 of my Tokarev pistols, and it just started happening. And I've tried a couple different things and gotten better results, but it doesn't matter whether I'm doing reloads or factory ammo. It doesn't matter which one of the ones. So I'm kind of curious too if you guys have anything. I've had some people suggest on my Tokarev pistols to change out the springs with Wolf springs so they're stronger. I've heard polishing the feed ramp would help. And Tony was talking to me too about checking the neck diameter since it's a bottleneck cartridge. The 380 is not a bottleneck cartridge, so that wouldn't be an issue with that. And I can tell you, it's just kind of weird how one of them started doing it. So I switched to another one, weeks or months later, and it started doing it. And I was using different kinds of ammo in it. And then, here Dusty's is acting the same way. And a Glock and a Tokarev are definitely 2 different pistols. So I was kind of at a loss there.
What? How many rounds is through it?
Mine, the 42's probably got a couple hundred rounds through it.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
it's been happening since the start.
yeah. Did it develop?
I didn't hear you on that.
Did it develop recently, or has it done it since day one?
Well, to be honest with you, I bought the gun. I took it out the first day I brought it home. I put a box of shells through it. I liked it. I started carrying it. Then Squib was down a couple weeks ago and we were target shooting and it acted up all day long. So guess what? That's in the safe now. It's not a carry gun.
Yeah, I was going to say, like this Sco was saying, might be your recoil spring, or it could be feed ramp issue.
Not. I
Yeah,
can.
see, and I was kind of thinking something similar, but with me with my Tokarev pistols, I had them for years, and they all worked fine, whether I used reloads or factory ammo or surplus ammo, and then it just started happening, and I did what he did. I put it in the safe. I pulled out the other one, and it started happening. I threw that in the safe, and I pulled out the other one, a couple months later, and it started, and I just have not made time to resolve the issue. But I imagine we've probably got something similar going on, maybe for different reasons. But
Well, I can tell you that because I've carried the LCP before the 42, so I'm used to small frame pistols, particularly 380. I can tell you that the keeping that feed ramp with a mirror shine polish is extremely important. And the reason is you simply do not have the slide mass that you would in a larger frame pistol. So
can you polish it with a Dremel tool without destroying the barrel?
Yeah, absolutely. Get you a obviously you need a buffing pad on there, and then use some high grit. I use high grit polishing compound.
Like a rubbing compound for a car?
No, way higher than that. More almost like jeweler's compound. I'd say like 800 grit or better.
Okay, I'm writing this down.
That's what I use. Wheelers actually makes it. You can get it if you look around. Wheelers makes it in a little tub or whatever you can get, and it don't take much.
And then
I really carry it.
And then it's also a situation to where it sounds like it wasn't happening, and then it all of a sudden it did. So I would do a couple of things. I would check the guide rod spring assembly in that thing, simply because you're talking plastic, and make sure that nothing has kind of went south that might not have gotten a little bent or kinked or something like that. If you're talking pocket pistols, Galloway Precision is a great place to get like steel guide rods and that sort of thing. All kinds of upgrades, trigger upgrades, you name it. Obviously for pocket pistols, but that's one upgrade I would certainly recommend. The next thing, since it didn't happen initially, supposedly, I would strip the thing completely down. There's several drag points that can occur. I would strip the slide, take the slide off, strip it completely down. Extractor, plunger assembly, the whole nine, clean all that up, and put all that back together, and then polish. There is a, oh heck, what am I thinking? I mean, anybody that knows Glock can tell me, but there's a little button on the bottom side of the slide. The crap. If you flip the slide over,
is it a takedown?
No, there's a plunger. Oh, no. There's a plunger there. And I'm trying to think. My mind's going blank. No, it's not a mag disconnect, but it's. I don't know if that's a firing pin block or what exactly. Maybe one of the safety deals. Yeah. Maybe a firing pin block safety is what I'm thinking. I'd have to pull up a schematic to know for sure. But if you flip it over, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's got a little plunger thing there. Keeping that polished as well is important because that's a drag point. So that's a few suggestions I got with that.
Okay, thank you. And I carry a small frame because I carry the gun that I have pictured right here. I carry my car P9, but so I was just curious what to do with that gun.
Yeah. Okay, so there we go. We got hopefully some.
See, I thought you were jumping in to tell Rick all about reloading your own 380.
Well, I do that, so What's he want to know? So far, though, it's not working. So
Don't double charge them. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. Now talking about that, where I have problems stovepiping and stuff is on my Polish P64. But what I found it was I bought 2 new magazines for it, and when you look at I find out when you look at the magazines against the original that came with it, at the very top, it's slightly different angle. I mean, it's very minute, but then I read somewhere online they say that's what's happening. You need to file that bit down. It'll only take a few seconds, they said, and it will start working. I haven't got around to doing that yet, So I just want to say that's what was causing mine. So anyway, yeah, you're late, Michael, because we're about ready to call. We're about ready to call it. It's been an hour.
Well, I'm sorry, I'd been listening. I just kind of, once you got on a topic I wanted to ask a couple questions about, I jumped in. So
okay, I'll give him the question. This is what it's for. It's for this hat. It says All-American Patriot, ready to defend. On here with the American flag, it's your right. It's brand new. It's still even got the tag on it. So we're using the same question that I used last week because I only got one entry, and he told me to throw it back into the ring. So that's what I'm doing. So the question, I thought it was real easy. I just think it is. People just didn't just forgot about it. Because normally, what people normally do is they answer me. I get emails just after the show finishes with the answer. That's when I get most of my emails when people are thinking about it. But the question is, in the original Lethal Weapon movie, what is the sidearm carried by Detective Sergeant Roger Murtaugh, which was played by Danny Glover, of course? What was his sidearm? And I'll give you a clue. He referred to it as his 4-inch Smith. That is the question. Email me at rickslife@gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com by Friday midnight. And that's what, and with the correct answer, I'll put you in the drawing for the hat. So there we go. I got it done this week. All right. Yeah, because I actually forgot it, and I mentioned the question again on Wednesday's show, and I got the one entry. So there we go. So there you go, everybody. You can find it on the internet easy. That's where that's where I'm finding the questions at. Whether my answers are right, I don't know, but that's where I'm getting them from. Anyway, so we're almost out of time here, so I'm going to run through the panel with any shout outs or plugs they want to do. Clover.
No, I'm good. It was a pleasure being here. Thanks.
Well, thanks for coming. I appreciate it. David.
Thanks for having me. It's always a good time, and I appreciate the invite.
Dusty.
No, just thanks for letting me jump in, and I asked a question and I got some answers and things to try. So that's a good day for me.
I appreciate it. Rich.
Yeah, I got tomorrow night over on Unloaded Media Channel. Got This Week Unloaded.
Okay. Squid.
Thanks for the invite, and Clover, thanks for the gunsmithing information. It's very, very helpful.
By the way, that is a firing pin safety. I did look it up. I was thinking that's what it was.
Okay. I want to say thank you for Patrick, Ohio, General Relativity, Muscle Dog, Raphael, Clay, all on gun channels listening. Then you got 2 Live Move, Philo, Raphael's on there too on YouTube. We got Ozzy, Vanessa, Black Cat Outdoors. I want to say thank you all for joining. I really appreciate it. And I'll be back on Wednesday at 7 p.m. to do shooting with disabilities. So thank you for all being here, and we'll see you then.